It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heine, man, what's on your mind?
But I heard through the rumor mill that there is a mystery woman secretly paying for your lip filler.
Yes,
Do
I've got
tell,
the
please.
It is I guess I'm outed. There is no mystery. I'm getting the Angela Jolie effect.
I think everybody uses a little lip filler, but the question is there a mystery woman paying for it?
Well, all it is a mason jar stuck to my lips, and then I suck it until the veins in my lips break. If I do it on a Monday, then by the time the show starts, it doesn't look like damaged goods.
You know, did I hear something? Did I hear that your wife is secretly dating one of the Osmonds?
Well, she is in love and has been in love with Marie Osmond for many decades. It brings out the Osmond love in her. She loves Marie and really loves Donnie. Donnie bought an auto lawnmower that just you charge up and then you sit and it just mows your grass. But man, that makes me a little nervous. Would you be nervous just sending out something with high velocity blades in your yard?
You know, these automatronic mowing mulchers are roaming the sides of our highways. I learned yesterday that they are, that is the new thing, is that they just get the brush hog out there and it's coming down and clipping everything down, and then the road workers aren't getting hit by all the drunks cruising down the highway.
Yeah, for some reason the highway thing makes me feel more comfortable than me chopping off the neighbor's feet. You know what I mean? I
There's a Disney film out there with that.
Bambi, in the old days, Bambi's mom gets shot by a hunter. In the new one, the Lilo and Stitch's grandma gets hacked up by the mower in the middle of the freeway in Hawaii.
The title of this film is going to be "Honey, I Mulched the Kids."
Hey, wait! We got to eye candy already. Eye candy. This week is "Honey, I Mulched the Kids." That's awesome. Well, you speak of amorous relationships with my wife, and she definitely everybody that's watched this pod knows about the Channing Tatum love. Is there anything from your young life or Chris's that was a celebrity crush when you were young?
Well, I hate to heap on my sister. She has not accepted your apology, but with that in mind, I will add that she had a little crush back in the day on Bobby Sherman.
Well, you can see why.
Yes, I didn't have celebrity crushes. Who, maybe Ally McGraw after I saw Love Story, or maybe some of her photos with Steve McQueen. Then I would be kind of like, hey, interesting.
Good. That's another good eye candy. Love Story, boy, makes you cry. What makes these rom-coms, or I guess These just timeless. What makes these timeless shows with the romance and the grief? What makes them so timeless, Henry?
Well, I'll tell you, Johnny, you know what? It is, I mean, it is a crushing story of love between Ryan O'Neal and Ellie McGraw. I forget what the characters' names are. But the real tragedy of the film is the unauthorized bumper that they have put on Ryan McNeil's MGTC. Not original equipment, looks horrible, ruins the film for me. I don't know.
Destroyed the film. Talk about relationships. The bumper fender relationship is sacrosanct.
I can't believe that Ally McGraw said, I won't ride in that. At the beginning of the show, that would have been a surprise ending for the film.
I'm
dating this guy over here with the Camaro.
I'm going to go with the T-top Thunderbird. Oh, how about, there was a guy in my neighborhood. Do you remember a grocery store that was just called The Store?
Let's see. Let me scratch my head. Johnny, did you used to mop the floors there?
Mop the floor. We did so much stuff late that I'd mop the floor when we were done. And so I would fall asleep and the mop machine would drag me through the grocery aisles because I would just completely just fall asleep listening to Loverboy and John Mellencamp on my sweet Walkman.
While bumping through the Swanson and Banquet frozen dinners.
Yeah. I felt bad because the guy that we're going to talk about, his parents had a Corvette that was painted on the doors with this sweet pyrotechnic, like pink, purple, not flames, but design that looked so idiotic. Glade Best was his name. He wanted to kill me because that concept of paint went to their boat. So they pulled a sweet boat behind this idiotic Corvette that had the same pink purple design. Oh, it was so stupid. So it came up and I'm like, well, that's about the biggest waste of a Corvette and a boat I've ever, and he's just like, I'm gonna fight you. And so he tried to get me fired because I didn't, have my friends come over to the store and we'd eat Snicker bars and while I was mopping.
Jokes about the Corvette with the tow package.
Just as everybody knows, you should not have a themed paint job or nowadays wrap. You should not theme a wrap on your Corvette that extends to a boat because all it says is I'm a douchebag. The douche magnet now is the Tesla truck. If you own a Tesla truck, you should not be watching this pod.
You don't like the Tesla truck?
Oh, it's not that I don't like it. It's that if you bought that truck, it's all about me and my face in your neighborhood.
I guess you're right. Here comes the big Tesla truck coming at you.
Well,
but that's
has anybody put anything in the back of a Tesla pickup truck?
I finally saw one with a dog in the back of it.
Oh, I stand corrected.
Otherwise, I've never seen a palm tree or a mattress or a set of shelves. Nothing.
A sweet Kia cabinet being moved to their new apartment. No, our son's best friend just got a Tesla truck, and it is the one vehicle that defies my personality. It is not a truck for trucking. It's a truck for I am awesome. It says, what car in your life has made you want to puke? The Tesla truck makes me want to puke.
The Tesla truck for me is it's so groundbreaking and different and out there. I know everybody hates them. I mean, it's except for the people who buy them, they love them. It's so different. How do you even get your head around that? It's just so different that it's, if
You like it.
if in 10 years every vehicle on the road looks like a Tesla truck, you'll be like, well, okay, that's what it is.
I will eat my words.
Vehicles that offend me.
Yeah.
The Honda Element where they didn't finish the paint job. They left the fenders black. It's like, what, they run out of paint at the factory?
3 colors. I love the new trend. 3 colors.
I also really detest the what is it, Pontiac Aztec that they made back there or something. Walter White drives one on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, the crazy back end.
Any of there are, Renault was majority owner in Nissan, and so they created the Leaf, which is just not sexy at all. The Cube was so wild. It's like, is that back car? I feel like I'm at the aquarium.
It had a bent window. The window curved in the back, so it was a curve, like an old, I don't know, Dick Van Dyke apartment.
I've never really got behind the Ghia-bodied mid 60s or early 60s Plymouths with the Continental kit, kind of like your Dart and your Valiant and whatever they were making there. Watch It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. The movie is sponsored by Chrysler, and every car in it is one of those, or a variant of, along with all the stars. Have must-see movie in your life.
That is a fantastic movie. Boy, we got lots of eye candy today.
It just keeps rolling. So
I love it.
Those are some of the cars that I don't really like.
How
about you?
I was such a chick magnet, as you know. I drove a burgundy Pacer when I first got my license that had the tape wood that was on the family truckster in the vacation movies. So it had tape wood on part of it, and then they spruced it up with some chrome. So it was just that, and the Gremlin, of course, the worst AMC, cars.
So we were in, of all places, Palm Springs, and we were doing the mid-century modern tour, and they had one of the events was go over to this garage tour where they'd build a bunch of garages to store RVs, and nobody stored RVs in them, so people moved their car collections in there. And there was one guy who had all those cars.
Nice.
The Gremlin, low mileage Pacer, went to the ends of the earth. Every car in there I did not like, except for maybe the 73 Riviera. Buick Riviera, that's the torpedo-bodied one there. But one particular choice piece that he had was an AMC Corsica, which was the high-end Matador.
Oh, the Matador.
If you watch, there's a James Bond movie, I think it's Live and Let Die.
Could be, yeah, that's the right age.
It's sponsored by AMC. So everybody, that's one where Tattoo and Scaramanga fly away in the flying Matador.
Oh, that's sweet spy tech.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
That's awesome. One of the cars that I really loved is the Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors. That thing was sweet.
The 61, the big one.
Fantastic. Yeah, because
it's a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Still popular.
Yeah. Speaking of, it's all about me. That is a showy car. So these classic movies, you're the one. I told the story of you making fun of yourself about watching AMC shows when we're talking about Gerda and making fun of her relating on the phone calls. I said, Henry told on himself. He said, that's him on this podcast. Every Turner Classic black and white movie that he explains the plot on. I love that. So now, of course, back then it was just hand holding at the park and going home and making dinner. Now it's these dating apps. Does technology hinder the relationships, Henry? Does technology get in the way now?
Are you talking about what's that Holly Madison app?
You tell me. I am a dum-dum. I learn all of my new technology information from you on this pod.
I think if you want to secretly date Jimmy Osmond, or then that's where you go. Well, I can't. Jimmy has had a stroke. Wayne
Can't
is
make fun
dead.
of Jimmy anymore.
Donnie's still around, and then I guess that the only other two are Tito and Jermaine. So, but I think if you wanted to meet up, there are a host of apps that make it quick and easy to date or not date. I still think it boils down to the person. If you are looking for love and you are willing to make some sort of a commitment, you can find it somewhere, whether it is on a dating app or at the gym.
Sure.
Or at the local autocross. If you
Sure.
are, what happens I think once you have one maybe major relationship fail, you start coming up with this list of the qualities of the perfect mate. And you never really fall in love. You just sit there and go, well, got a lot of credit card debt. And whoever's doing his lip filler is really sucks. And then he doesn't like my dog.
And his sister hates my podcast.
Obnoxious children, right? And his webcam is horrible. And so then you just don't ever meet anybody because nobody measures up to your list of pre-qualifications, which in a lot of ways makes sense. And in another way, it keeps you from ever hooking up. And so I am, and then like, Chris got me at an early age and poof, I'm off the market. So all the gemstones have been snapped up.
Yeah, all the good ones. I never knew you were such a romance. You're romantic. You're like had the list. It's like, their own teeth or caps, no sixth toe. Check, check, check. Chris is the one. Let's get hitched, honey.
I mean, if you're going through their medicine cabinet on a date and suddenly you open it and out fly 3 boxes of Mando wipes, maybe that's a red flag.
Speaking of red flags, you have relayed the fact that some of our topics Chris really doesn't enjoy. She makes a point to let you know. I really like the podcast until you started talking about such and such. It makes me laugh.
We got Lisa Downey of Edgewood, New Mexico writes, don't ever talk about Dr. Pimple Popper again. The last time you did, I thought I was going to throw up.
And she is so off track with our numbers, our analytics. Oh, our analytics are off the chart when you talk about blackheads that are 85-year-olds deep in someone's back. People love
it.
Talk about a list of good things for your future mate. Humongous growths. That's the yes, please.
That is, the other day it pops up on my feed. I'm like, wow, look at this chick. She's pretty hot. She's got a little tank top on, a nice tan. What are they doing with her? What are all those bumps? She is covered from here to here with ticks that are the size of a dime. And they're going over how you
Engorged.
get rid of the ticks. You know, you start with some like suntan lotion, and then you hit them with some Clorox, and then or something else, and then you start burning them off with the match.
Man alive.
Oh yeah, there's so much good quality stuff out there in terms of human afflictions that are coming at us from nature. It's wonderful.
Another one of the yes please on your list is lots of skin lesions.
You know what we never really talk about is the possibility of leeches. You know, going through a river down south somewhere, and suddenly you're swarmed with leeches. There's got to be some great videos of that. Oh, you know what else, Johnny? If you want some eye candy,
yeah,
you've got to go on YouTube and watch girls in bikinis noodling for flathead catfish.
That's the three favorite things: rivers, bikinis, and fish gobbling up someone's arm.
It's like, wow, here's a splinter group I want to join.
This could be a channel on our podcast.
It probably already is.
Money, 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 money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
You know, you have the pulse. You are the moral backbone of this show, and you have the pulse of what America loves. Speaking of the countries, of course, the United States is Canada and United States. They are our big viewers. But we have added some unique countries that have watched the pod. Have you ever been to some of these countries that are now listening, Henry? Latvia?
Never been to Latvia. There's a new Latvian film out that's up for an Oscar. To go see that in the foreign department. That's all they have. Don't know what the name of it is. Could probably
love it.
All right. I have never been to Latvia. What else have you got? Somalia? Never been there.
Somalia was added.
Lots of friends who've been to Somalia.
And what did they say about it?
Well, when you're driving your Deuce and a half down the road, the children will come out and try to rip the sunglasses right off your face.
Nice.
Most of those guys have been there with Uncle Sam's, like the Rangers or the 132nd Field Transport Unit of the United States Army. That's how you get to go to Somalia.
Nice.
Well, that's who I figure our Somalian listeners are guys there at.
Yeah.
If we still have guys in Somalia, we probably do.
Yeah. The list now, Pakistan. I mean, there's some unusual listeners for us, and a whole bunch, like a big percentage in some of the countries that would have to be Americans, because how in the world would they be able to listen to us and not be confused by the language? But hey, we'll take it. Welcome, Latvia.
Absolutely.
Love it. So one thing that you have in common with many, many celebrities, your love of old Twilight Zone episodes is in sync with lots of big time celebs. You can add yourself to Spielberg, Bob Dylan, Stephen King, J.J. Abrams, and Leo. I can't believe it, but DiCaprio loves the Twilight Zone just as much as you. He wants to do a Twilight Zone remake. He loves it so much. You have the pulse of the celeb.
Deep well, Johnny. Drink from it.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about we have a song, my wife and I have a song that reminds us of the romance and of dating. It is the song by the Kinks, Lola, which when we were in high school, I said, oh man, that Lola song is good. And you did this in a totally dismissive voice. Oh, Johnny, I guess you like the reissued live version, you loser. And I said, I'm like, wow, Attack Zone, Girls Gone Wild, beating up on Johnny. I said, no, I love the single from the 60s. And you're like, respect. So that was
Are you kidding me?
respect. And so I felt that day, my ego was boosted. I was walking on sunshine for that full day because the Heine man made me feel like I had some cred, some riz.
See, and that's where when I figure I carry no weight with anybody, I just say all kinds of stuff because I say, well, they just think I'm an idiot. So here goes. You know what my new Kinks rediscovery is, that I just blast in the truck, is Around the Dial, that Around the Dial song about the DJ. And it's
Nice.
kind of in that period when they were off that live, in their latter, like their last album that they really did that had anything great on it.
Yeah,
I love that song.
Great. Yeah, I love the Kinks.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have been a mystery drummer. I didn't realize when we were jamming out, I didn't know you had an affinity for drumming so much, and now you're air drumming on the podcast. Congrats. You own the drum set.
That would be dogs.
That Look at you. You're Ringo Starr all of a sudden.
There's a set right over there.
I know. What was this? What inspired you to get the drum set?
Something to do. And then, so I got it. Chris got it for me for Christmas one year. And I started playing it, and the dogs went berserk. They do not like the drumming. And so then I could never do it ever again.
Yeah. Parents and neighbors and dogs, they don't love the percussion.
Mm-mm.
But you look cool.
We can do it, yeah. I have all kinds of music equipment set up right over there in case,
I know. It's like
in case Keith Richards shows up one day, he can play the Predator.
And in your mind, did you ever think, oh, well, if I'm playing in my studio, it's like Salt Lake City Hard Rock Cafe. Did you ever think maybe if one of these rock stars is walking by, they'll just come up and knock on the door? They hear the masterful musicianship, and they'll be like, can I join the jam session? You'll be like, no.
It's kind of like that thing that I'm constantly prepared for is when I'm on a Southwest flight, one of the stewardesses will walk up and say, Mr. Morrison, the captain has had a heart attack, and we need you to take us in.
And you're like,
I fly in the little simulator on my computer. I got this.
yes, I can. And thank you for noticing.
Ground control, I'm ready to come in.
What is your worst airport experience? The very worst flight or airport experience?
This week?
Come on, do tell. Hey, you went to Virginia when it was snowing. How did it go?
Not well, Johnny. Let me tell you.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for picking at a scab and then pouring salt in it.
Well, okay. So last Friday, I was in Juarez, and it was getting close to flight time. So So the guy I'm with says, well, I'm going to just drop you with your giant luggage at the border and you can jog through Mexican customs and then up over the bridge and get an Uber to the airport. And, well, probably you'll make it.
Ooh.
So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm cool. Let's go for that. So he throws me out at the border. I go through Mexican customs. I'm getting my Uber on my phone. He is 4 minutes out. I get to the top of the bridge. The United States Border Patrol has shut down the border for a drill. Gates locked, people standing there. So I go up to the agents. It's like, so, am I missing my flight? And they're like, yeah, you are. So that got me home at about 10 o'clock on Friday night. So I was supposed to be like 5. I ordered the fish, and they brought it out, and the head of the fish is set up looking at you. Gorgeous presentation.
I love it.
I took copious amounts of photos. So then Sunday, I flew out uneventfully, and then until we had to fly from like Louisville to the Tri-Cities Airport, which is a little tiny place. We got to Atlanta. It snowed in. They canceled the flight. We went and stayed at the worst econo lodge on the planet.
Was there blood or hair?
It was worse from the outside. Once you got in, it was, well, there was no hot water in the sink. I just got a couple of garbage bags and crawled into them and slept in the bed just so I wouldn't get any bites. But anyway, and then the next day, so I had a hotel room reserved and I tried to cancel it. They're like, oh, you've prepaid for this. You're paying for it.
It's yours.
So it was about 3 o'clock and I'm buzzing down the road and I said, I think that hotel is right here. So I checked in and just, destroyed the bathroom.
Nice.
At 3, watched some TV, checked out, and went to the airport. I've never done that. And then my flight was delayed.
Anyway.
Right. So it really has gotten me to realize that there are 2 of my most popular restaurants. One is Sammy Hagar's restaurant in the Las Vegas airport.
Nice.
And the other one is TGI Fridays in the Atlanta airport.
So you go with the exotic French cuisine when you can.
If there's one thing I love is airport chicken fingers. Mm-hmm.
The number 1 selling item. Yes.
What's your worst airport experience?
Mine isn't so much airport, just sitting waiting for delayed flights with Morris Travel out of Salt Lake. Literally, they just tell you every half hour it's delayed, and then you're ending up the next day. That's bad for airports. But the hotels, when you mentioned that, so we did find blood and a lot of human hair in one of the hotels. And then we thought, well, that's going to be the worst experience we can ever have. And then the next week, we went back, and the other hotel motel thing that we checked into, there were people already in the room asleep when we walked in on them. Thank goodness they were at least asleep. And so we're like, oh, sorry about that. So we go back, they give us another room, and then we go into the fresh room, and the fresh room full on cockroaches, just aplenty. And some dude was getting his hair cut on the outside of the door the next morning. So it doesn't work well for me in the quick economy motel things. A lot of surprises in those.
How about, at the baggage carousel? Have you ever surprised anyone at the baggage carousel, Johnny?
Do tell. I don't think I have.
Well, when you are at the baggage carousel, they warn you many bags look alike.
And they do. They're all black.
Do you always check for your name tag when you're picking up bags?
I guess I do, because someone took mine and I ended up with theirs. And since then, yeah, because we ended up with just some female's clothing. And since then, yes. And I didn't have
Are
the
you
guts to
sure that
tell
was an accident, or had you previously checked out her wardrobe?
accident. Well, I told my wife that it wasn't my bag, but it's not my bag, baby. But yes, those leggings were all grandpa's. Absolutely. No, have you been swapped with luggage? Oh, you've probably lost luggage before.
Well, you told me once that you took some guy's bag and got to the hotel and ripped it open, and it was the wrong stuff. Was that girl's?
No, that was a different one. But yeah, we the key
You're a
didn't work.
multiple offender.
Yeah, the key didn't work. So we're like, why does my key not work? Urgh. We just wrestle it open. Yeah. So of course we took all the cash and all the delicious butterscotch candies that were hidden in it. So it must have been someone my age.
I got off the plane and I took somebody's, they had the identical, one of those Swiss Costco briefcase bags.
Mhm.
And I took his at the Phoenix airport, hooked it off to some restaurant, opened up the bag and went, so I quickly grabbed one of his business cards out of there and called him. And he was outside security.
Moral backbone.
And Southwest Airlines made the swap.
Nice. You are the moral backbone of. If it had been me, I would have been wearing his clothes and I would have his computer under my arm and say, "Me no speak English." No. That's good. Well, you're like a rock star because you travel. I mean, you travel a lot, so you're like Led Zeppelin in the 70s, going from town to town all the time. I love it.
I don't feel like it, Johnny.
Yeah, well, they all the rock stars always say they don't pay them to play live because they do that for free. People pay them to travel, to do the airport thing because it's so miserable and that's their whole life. I love it. I love all of that. Any on that theme of the relationship and the song, was there ever a restaurant that was like the rest? Oh, did you ever mention if you and Chris have a song like, oh yeah, they're playing our song?
We struggle with that. She would say it's I Melt With You by Modern English.
No, that's a great song. That's our perfect.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, that's our time, right? That's our groove. Now, you kind of dissed her a little bit by saying, "Oh, she would say." So
I would say it too.
Now we know the wrong answer is Modern English. What is actually your song, Henry?
Blue Moon by Shauna Na from Greece.
Ooh. Bowser.
Bow,
bow, bow.
The dude.
I can kind of see why Chris doesn't allow you to tell people what your song is, because that is not the kind of song that women want to hear. Is it? Oh, they're playing our song. Do 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 do. So our song is the one that we constantly dance to. Is an oldie, Strangers in the Night. That's like an old throwback one. So that, I think if somebody attacked us and said, what's that song? It's the Lola or the Strangers in the Night. So you and Chris went more contemporary, more hip. Alice and I we're older.
There's only is that Tony Bennett? Did he do Strangers in the Night?
Yeah.
That's
So
song.
Of course, harking back to the time when you and I were jamming with our friends, we all I always change the words so that they're inappropriate and childish, which is really my superpower. Take any great song and destroy it by, throwing in fart jokes and idiotic humor. So, speaking of never growing up, we an article just came up recently that said the 20 to 30-year-old people in the country are never growing up. It's the first time like a certain envelope of generation, they're just not saving for a house. They're all renting. They aren't getting married. What is your take on the never grow up generation, Henry?
Is this a real phenomenon? I don't,
It really is. You and I got married now incredibly young compared to what it is now. Now people don't get married. Folks do not want to have kids, and they're not buying any houses. So
I would, that don't push that button. I think that, if you look at it like, if you were born in 1930 and you had 11 brothers and sisters and were living in the Dust Bowl of Oklahoma, your parents were obviously, you grew up and you just said, well, okay, I'm going to have 11 brothers and sisters. I'm going to have 11 kids and we're going to live in a shack in Oklahoma, and that's life.
yeah, and your parents got married at 13, literally. Some people got married at 14, 15 and had their first kid at 16.
Now there is this buffet of other things to do. It's, that's their, you can travel. You want to buy a Tesla truck. You want to, go see movies, eat out every night. And when you start saying, well, and then you're paying somebody to watch your kids while you work to pay for all this stuff, you kind of lose the focus on having 11 kids. And so you don't do it. And then you look around at all the relationships of people fighting over money, and there are just all these other things that people are focusing on, not raising their 11 kids.
Agreed.
I think that's where it's at.
And women have wised up. We have talked about it before. Women are not stupid anymore. They're not dumb enough to marry someone like me. They're not that dumb anymore. They're sick of idiot men who they're just downright dumb. Yeah, they're sick of them being buttholes and all that. So that's why.
Yeah, it's it's tough to hitch your wagon up. Who do you hitch your wagon up with? You should be checking that resume early.
That's right. Genetics.
On your first one.
We're looking, on the first date, you're looking for body tics and large nodules. The second date, you definitely want to find out what their credit card debt is.
Things weren't so good in the past. I think, we went to New York City and went to the Tenement Museum, and maybe I've covered this, but it was they found an abandoned tenement building in the early 80s, and they figured it was condemned in the 1930s, and the owners boarded it up and walked away.
Wow.
And it was built in 1860, approximately, somewhere in there. And so they go through the census and they figure out who lived in every apartment, because they have records of that and what they did. And it's the people who had come from the Germany or Poland or Russia, and it different groups of people moved through the area as it went along. And their life was, well, I've had 11 children or 3 kids, whatever it is. And my husband couldn't secure work to pay for us. We're living in this crappy 2-bedroom apartment in this dark tenement building, and Mama is sewing clothes in the front room from 6 a.m. till midnight every day. And that was their life.
Yeah. Dream.
And the husband left.
Yeah.
He left them there. They're in the poorhouse. And so that woman's life was, you're sewing to support the kids until you die. And there are just hundreds of thousands of people who were doing that in the 1880s into the, I don't know at what point. They figure that building, the last people who lived there were probably in the 1930s. And it was just a shambles, and everything was left kind of, they figured the last time it had been remodeled or anybody done any work was about 1906.
Ooh.
And
so lots of carbon monoxide fumes.
If you watch the movie Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Hoffman, they're living in an old tenement building.
Nice.
It's kind of depressing, but the movie's depressing. But that's where they are, is in one of these old tenement buildings that's from the 1860s. And so how did we get there? That's just kind of on life. What's life now, life then? I don't know. Kids are going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to, inflation. People ask me what the biggest problem is economically.
Prices, baby.
And it's really inflation. And that is, now you've had the California fires. People are moving out of there. Only drives the prices things up.
Yep.
Yeah, so
that's it. Hein explains the world. That's the hard-hitting analysis that we all have come to love.
If you go around Salt Lake and there are tons of tenement buildings, they're much nicer than they were in the 1860s.
Yeah, I think that's a newer phenomenon in newer states. They don't have the 200-year-old house buildings and housing, so that's one good thing. Well, have a fantastic week. You're the best.
Same, Johnny.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Hein and Johnny. You can follow all things Hein and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Hein and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Hein and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com. That's ConveyeEquuip.com.